43.8 million adults in the U.S. experience mental illness in any given year. Half of chronic mental illness symptoms begin by age 14, 3/4 by age 24. Thanks to modern medical science, there are many options, pharmaceutical and not, to help manage this chronic illness. Yet, suicide is still the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. and the 3rd leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 24. And even though symptoms could start at 14, people sometimes wait up to a decade to get help. So why are people not seeking treatment?
I knew no one who went to a therapist. And then the only people that did go to therapy that you heard of, it seemed like they were the crazy ones. And who wants to be called crazy?
I saw treatment with an antipsychotic as admitting that I had less control over my brain than I wanted to.
I mean, like, you might run into someone that, like, doesn't believe that it's a real diagnosis, and I don't want people to think that I'm broken.
My name is Jonathan Baca. My diagnosis is comorbid ADHD and schizophrenia or schizoaffective. I've been officially diagnosed with ADHD since I was about 19, so probably 4 years now, and I've been officially diagnosed with schizoaffective or schizophrenia since January of this year, so about 4 months.
Would you say that while you were experiencing both either the symptoms of ADHD or schizophrenia, that you ever worried that maybe it was all in your head before or after you even started treatment?
Kind of. There's a sense of control that I didn't want to lose. And I think that that was a good way of justifying that loss of control.
You were diagnosed with ADHD first, and then there was like this really long break between being diagnosed with schizophrenia. So were you experiencing symptoms of schizophrenia through that time period?
Yeah, definitely the paranoia was the main one, but I just thought it was a personality defect.
So that did in fact hinder you from getting treatment initially because you were concerned that maybe it was just that you couldn't control your brain as well as you would have liked? Is that?
Yeah, I just thought it was like a personality defect. Like, okay. I thought I was lazy. All the same terms that everybody applies. I was blind to myself.
My name is Selena Castro, and I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I mean, anxiety like my entire life, but depression more like since middle school, I would say.
And what prevented you from getting treatment right away when you started having symptoms?
I've always felt like I just like deal with it by myself, so I didn't want to do anything about it. Just thought I was sad or being a baby or something. Sometimes I'd like feel good for a couple of days, and I'm like, what am I even talking about? I'm not depressed. I'm fine.
My name is Nicole Jean Chapdelaine, and I have anxiety. I was diagnosed with anxiety in my sophomore year of high school.
Was there any thought that this anxiety that you were experiencing was all in your head, either before or even after the start of treatment?
There was definitely a really strong feeling of, I'm just making this up, and the only reason that I have these issues is because I don't try and deal with them like a normal person. And so it was pretty scary to come to terms with the fact that I had anxiety and not just that I sucked at dealing with life's problems.
Even though we've advanced medically, why do you think socially there's still a taboo surrounding getting treatment for mental illness, having a diagnosis for mental illness, or even being on medication for mental illness?
I think people, again, with the whole stigma that's behind it, they don't want to go in for help in general, and then they also don't want to say, oh, I'm on meds.
There's this idea in our society that your mind is more powerful than anything.
So what are some myths, false statements, or stigmas that you hear in regards to mental illness, depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia?
So I feel like when it comes to depression, people are kind of like blaming the person with the depression.
ADHD, a lot of people think that it just doesn't exist.
That it's not a real thing, like it's just for attention.
That, oh, just don't worry about it and it won't be a problem. And it's like, wow, that was helpful.
Bipolar is just kind of a made-up thing.
Well, why don't you just snap out of it?
Just being a baby.
People telling you that, like, it's all in your head.
People think that it's not controllable using medicine.
Psychosis, people just think like they're crazy and that they're like, no way that they're thinking that or seeing that or hearing that.
only been on treatment for a couple of months, but in this past couple of months since he started treatment compared to before he was on the treatment
Huge.
for the schizoaffective, how different is it?
Huge. Life-changing, huge. It would help so many people if they would just actually seek help when they knew it was necessary.
That if you had had a conversation with more people or run into more people that were very open about their treatment, that it could have affected you getting treatment sooner?
I think so, because me and my mom talked about it after I actually got diagnosed and kind of realized that even the temper tantrums that I had as like a 3, 4, or 5-year-old were not toddler tantrums. Like, they were panic attacks. Like, looking back, it's really obvious, and there was things that I did then that I still do now. And I mean, in 6th grade I was having ones that I was like, wow, this is really like off the charts weird, and I was like, I'm just not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to cry over my math homework until I can't feel my legs and then call it good. And so I think talking to people and being more open about, yeah, this is actually what's going on and this is how I deal with stress would have made it a lot more clear a lot sooner on that it wasn't normal and that it wasn't just something that I had to suck it up and deal with because it was about my inability to cope.
How do you think that we can improve this taboo and the stigmas that surround mental illness?
I think definitely just communication in general for the general public, like saying, hey, this is a real thing, this isn't a crazy taboo, it's not just something made up, but people really need help, and this is a way that people can get the help, so you should let people feel welcome that they're getting help and have them accept it.